I have been doing this for years. Every time my cat looks at me, I look right back. I thought it was a way to connect. I thought I was talking to it in its own language. It turns out I was doing the exact opposite. There was one afternoon when I was sitting and reading a book, and it jumped onto the chair opposite me and stared straight into my eyes. I looked back. We stared at each other for about 15 seconds. Then it jumped down and walked into another room. I thought we just shared a beautiful moment. After that, I read a study about how cats process direct eye contact from another living being. And I realized that the exact moment I thought was a connection to my cat, it read a completely different signal. I have looked back into the eyes of my cat thousands of times. And during those thousands of times, I was sending a message that I had absolutely no intention of sending. What makes it impossible for me to ignore this is not the mistake itself. It is this part right here, because there was nothing in the reaction of the cat to tell me I was doing something wrong. It did not scratch me. It did not make any sound. It just gradually changed. And I did not even notice until I started looking back at the data. In this video, I will tell you exactly what is going on when you look straight into the eyes of a cat. Why your most natural reflex is the very thing that breaks trust in the most silent way possible. And there is one more thing at the end, a way to completely replace that reflex with an opposite signal, which is the thing that changed the relationship between me and my cat, more noticeably than anything else I have ever tried. Stay until the very end, because the final part is something you will use tonight. This is what makes this mistake particularly dangerous. It looks like love. It feels like a connection. And because there is no obvious negative reaction right away, most owners never know they are doing something wrong. The cat does not scratch you. It does not give a low growl. It just gradually stops. It stops actively seeking you out. It stops holding eye contact. It stops sitting close by. These changes are way too small to notice, but they have a direction. And I have found that direction. In the world of cats, direct and prolonged eye contact is not a sign of friendliness. It is a dominance signal. It is a declaration. In the wild, when an animal stares at another animal without looking away, that is a precursor to one of two things, an attack or an assertion of control. Both predators and prey encode this signal the exact same way. Prolonged eye contact means a threat. A 2022 study at the University of Portsmouth on visual communication in cats confirms that cats recognize direct eye contact from a larger creature as a dominance signal or a potential confrontation first before any other signal in the environment. When you look back into the eyes of a cat, you are not talking to it in its own language. You are challenging it, and it knows that even if you do not. But here is the even more interesting part, because there is a huge difference between how a cat reads eye contact from a stranger and someone it knows, and understanding that difference changes the entire picture. This is what I got wrong for years. When your cat looks at you, it is not necessarily inviting you to look back. In many cases, it is evaluating. It is reading your state. It is determining what you are doing and whether that has anything to do with it. There is a clear difference between a soft look with normal eye blinking and a hard stare with wide-open dilated pupils that do not blink. The first one is social communication. The latter is a state of high alert. When you reflexively look back immediately and hold it, you fail to distinguish between these two types. You are responding to both with the same signal, and to the cat, that reads like an escalation. I started recording the eye expressions of my cat right before and right after each time I looked back. In most cases, its pupils dilated after I looked back. That is not a sign of comfort, and science actually supports this in a way I did not expect. In 2020, researchers at the University of Sussex published a study on eye-to-eye communication between cats and humans. They discovered that when owners look at their cats and then blink slowly, the cats tend to blink back and then approach closer. That signal reads like safety, which is about non-threat. What made me pause when reading this study was not the results. It was what it implied about the opposite side. If a slow blink reads as safety, then what does a hard, prolonged stare read as? The researchers did not stop at that question in the paper. But behavioral logic answers very clearly. I tested both with my cat for 2 consecutive weeks. The first week, I looked back every time it looked at me the way I always used to do. The following week, I replaced every single look back with a slow blink and then looked away. The difference in its behavior did not even need to be measured. It was just there. If this is making you look back at how you interact with your cat every day, that is exactly why this channel exists. This is the part I wish I had known sooner. Cats do not react to a single event. They react to a cumulative pattern. Looking straight into its eyes one time does not cause a problem. Doing it 1,000 times over 3 years builds a pattern that the nervous system of the cat reads as a source of mild and constant stress. A 2019 study on chronic stress in domestic cats from the University of Bristol indicates that cats adjust their social behavior to minimize contact with perceived stressors, even when those sources are the people they are attached to. The adjustment does not happen suddenly. It happens about 0.04 inches at a time, which is about 1 millimeter. A cat gradually sleeps with you less. It jumps onto your lap less. It actively seeks you out less. You do not notice because there is no clear boundary, but there is a direction. And that direction starts from small signals accumulating every day, signals that look like love from your end. But this is the part where everything gets really complicated, because not all direct eye contact is equally harmful. There is one single type that you can absolutely use, and how to use it precisely is the content of the final point. Not every look is a dominant signal. There is a way to use eye contact with a cat that the cat reads as completely the opposite. That is a soft look combined with a slow blink, and then looking away first. The difference is not in the look itself. It lies in who looks away first. In cat body language, the animal that looks away first is the animal saying that I have no intention of a confrontation. That is a sign of safety actively given, not forced. When you look into the eyes of a cat and then look away first, you are completely reversing the signal. You are no longer a threat. You become a source of safety. I started doing this intentionally during the 2nd week of my experiment. Every time my cat looked at me, instead of looking back and holding it, I blinked slowly once and then turned my eyes away gently. After 3 days, for the first time in months, it actively climbed up to sit next to me on the chair without being invited. That was not a coincidence. That was a response to a signal I had changed. Please save this. This is what I thought about the most after figuring all of this out. It is not about the science, and it is not about the studies. It is about the gap between intention and signal. We love our cats. We look into their eyes because we want to connect. Because we want them to know we are here. Because that is how humans tell each other that I see you, I am present, and I care about you. But a cat is not a human. It does not have thousands of years of culture encoding eye contact as an intimate connection. It has millions of years of evolution encoding a prolonged stare as preparation for conflict. That gap between what we want to say and what the cat actually hears is where most misunderstandings in the human-cat relationship happen. It is not because we do not care. It is because we care in our own language. Learning to look away first is not giving up on connection. It is the first time you truly connect in its language. That is not just eye contact. That is respect in the only language your cat has. And that is what it has been waiting for you to learn this whole time. If this makes you curious about what other signals you are sending out without realizing it, I have a video about a mistake in the way people greet cats that most owners make during their first many years, which picks up exactly where this video ends. And that mistake also looks just like love from the outside.